What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Jalen Green, right? And the series uh that Jalen Green is having against the the series that he's having against the Golden State Warriors, right? Um, for fans and everybody watching, if you're a fan of the Houston Rockets, or if you coach, or if you play, people play, the coaches and the other players on the team really are frustrated. Maybe not so much the players, but there was a report that came out that um Email Doka is really frustrated with Jalen Green and his up and down performance in the playoffs. One game, he'll give you 30. Then the next game, he'll give you 8. And so that's not really, if you're trying to advance in the playoffs, that's not the performance, or the kind of consistency that you need in your star basketball player. And Email Doka even said after in a press conference after the game, a post game press conference, he said once they lost game, what was it, game 4? They went down. They're going down 3-1 now. But he said that Jalen has to learn to affect the game in other ways. Every night that your shot is not going to be on, but you can still rebound. You can still be aggressive, and being aggressive, you keep the defense honest because you make them have to respect you, and to make them have to a certain extent, they got to play you. But Jalen Green, once his shot is not going, once he's not scoring the way that he can, the way that he's used to, then that kind of takes his confidence out, and he shouldn't be like that. But I've said, I just think that Jalen Green this right here is just a learning process for him. I think this is his first time, in the playoffs, and it's obvious that he's not right now. He's not prepared for the intensity. Then you got, in the playoffs, teams take away your strengths. Like, what do you do best? They don't allow you to do what you do. And Jalen Green is mostly he likes to run. He likes to get out there, run, and fill the lane and get easy baskets. But Golden State, and Steve Kerr said it, Golden State is going to make them a half court team. And Jalen Green finds it harder to score in a half court. So that's where you know it becomes, that's why he's so inconsistent. I think in one game, I think when they in that win against Golden State, Jalen Green he was able to get more easy baskets. It wasn't like he was coming down, posting up, and he was able to get easier baskets. And so, gotta give it to Golden State. They know what he want to do, and they're not allowing him to do that. I think that if they do allow him to play his game, then as you saying, in the game that they won, that's what it's going to be. So now the challenge for Jalen Green is for Jalen Green to learn how to be a more effective, number one, more effective half court ball player. So that means he's going to start. You need to really, and I think it's a lost art, but he need to really work on his mid range game. That's number one. Then number two, I think like all great players have a signature shot. And that's what, he needs to find a way to get a signature shot, whether it's like like a fall away jumper, like what Mike and Kobe had, or like that turnaround like what Mike and Kobe had, where it's hard to defend that shot. Like that shot is basically money. Or with Kawhi Leonard, like Kawhi Leonard with that mid-range game, like if he get anywhere inside that paint or around that free throw line, like that shot for Kawhi Leonard is just always money, and it's hard to stop. So that's what he's going to have to do to just to be determined to be effective, though. To no matter, like, even if his shot is off, he like his coach said, he can affect the game. Even if the shot is off. And I noticed against like down a stretch against Golden State, he was on the bench, and that gotta be, to Jalen Green, that probably gotta be like a very disappointing. You want to be out there helping your team come back. You want to be out there, contributing, but the coach really couldn't trust him. He wasn't really giving them no production out there, so they had to go with somebody else. In which you can't blame Email Doko. I thought it was a good call to take him out, and to show him like, man, if you're gonna be out there, you got to be effective. You got to be giving us everything you got. You just can't be out there taking up space. You can go to um, Email Doka said, he could go to his bench and get somebody else who's gonna play, but hopefully for Jalen Green, this is just like a learning process. You know, like I said, a lot of good players go through this. Even Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson didn't perform a couple times in the playoffs, and they called him Tragic Johnson. You know, he missed shots he missed a couple shots at crucial times, and they called him Tragic Johnson. Then, he continued to work on his game and progress, and then Magic got better. He got that running half hook, and that was Magic's signature shot. That was his signature move, whereas though he knew that was something he could count on. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, what he had that sky hook, that was his signature shot. And so hopefully, because I do think that Jalen Green is the best. He is their best player, and they got a lot of talent. Shangoon, I like Shangoon because he's tough in that paint. So I like Shangoon for the Houston Rockets. I also like what is Amen Thomas. That kid is really good. I like him. He's athletic. And he's another one though. He's not as effective in the half court. I think they're learning, but they're not as effective in the half court. So, but I also think Amen Thomas he's not as in my opinion, he's not as good as Jalen Green. Not right now, he's not. So, if both of these guys really continue to develop, I think they'll be, they're just taking their lumps right now. That's one of the reasons why I didn't even pick Houston to make it out of the first round. Even though Houston is a higher seed than Golden State. I just think that because they're young and inexperienced, I didn't think they was going to come out of the golden round. I mean, the first round. I think also with Golden State having the type of pedigree that they had, I just thought it was I just think it was a good matchup for them. Golden State, they got 4 championship rings with this current group of ball players, not including Jimmy Butler, who they call playoff Jimmy. So I pick from the jump. I pick Golden State. But now one thing I can give Houston credit for is they're playing hard. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think. For the most part, I think they was in most of these games. It's not like they got blown out like Miami, got drugged by the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they've been pretty close. So as long as Jalen Green like take this off season, because I think this series is over with. Um, they're down 3-1. I think it's all but over with. They might win one more. Hopefully they don't, because I want Golden State to win, get it over with, and get some rest. But the offseason, man, I think not just Jalen Green, but Amen Thomas, Shangoon, like all of them could be getting better. All of these guys can really work on their half court game. They play tough defense, so that's a plus. That's a start. But I do think that Jalen Green is their number one. And so Jalen Green, be just like Jason Tatum, just gotta continuously just push yourself, try to get tougher, try to get better, develop your game more, learn how to affect the game. Even when your shot is off, you still should be certain. even when the shot is off, he still should be able to score at least, in the high teens or in the early, the low 20s, but not 8 points. You can't 31 night and then 8 points. That's just too much of a fall off. I mean, like Steph Curry scored in their victory against them game 4. Steph Curry scored, I think it was 17 points. But the game before that, he scored what? 37. You know, and he hit some buckets, some crucial buckets. So, that's respectable. But we can, again, you talking about Steph Curry. So yeah, I think this guy, Jalen Green, will be all right. This is all a learning experience for him, but he's their number one. And I don't think that the Houston Rockets should panic when it comes to him. Just continue to bring him along and develop him. And so he's with the right coach too. Emil Doka is going to make this kid, he's going to hold him accountable and make him play hard. So he's with the right coach. And that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.